Good to see you, Preston.
Yeah, you too.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to all set.
Yeah.
How was your trip?
It was great.
Where'd you go? Tell us where you went.
So I was in.
If you feel comfortable.
I was in Bolivia, and I have some family down there, and so we were just visiting family, and
now I'm sure as a silver stacker, you're always thinking, right? So when you're in Bolivia, this is what I was wondering. When you're in Bolivia, I think it could go two ways.
Yeah.
It could go one of two ways. You could either feel like, oh, I can't wait to get back to the United States,
right,
to a country that knows what they're doing, or did you feel like, wow, like the United States could really learn from a place like Bolivia? Was there any sense of anywhere like that?
Actually, it was very interesting. So we're kind of hearing right now. Everyone's trying to get rid of dollars. Everybody's, the Chinese are dumping treasuries. So there is a shortage of dollars. So if you bring physical $100 bills with you, obviously you're limited about $10,000. But if you bring physical dollars with you, you can get much higher than the official exchange rate. Mm-hmm. So the official exchange rate they're called bolivianos. So the official exchange rate of bolivianos to a dollar is 6.85 to 6.95, depending on where you are.
What could a dollar get you there?
You could eat out at a restaurant for $1.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
Really?
Super cheap, about 1/10 the cost of California.
Oh my God.
But if you go like on the street, there are black market money changers that'll pay you 8.36, so significantly better than you would get at the bank. And my sister-in-law, she was telling, because I was telling her the story, she was like, yeah, no, you can even find people who pay you better than that pay you 9 or 10 to 1 on the dollar, because a lot of people there have they have loans outstanding in dollars. So yeah, it was.
And where? So for those of us who are not great with geography, where exactly is Bolivia?
So Bolivia is smack dab in the middle of South America. Mm-hmm. It's completely landlocked. On the north side, you have Brazil. On the southern side, you have Argentina and Chile, and you have Paraguay, and then to the west, you have Peru.
So Argentina, which is the country that is our nightmare? Like, we don't want our currency to be totally. Is it Argentina?
Yeah.
So let's get back to the United States.
Yeah.
We have a great fear of our currency.
Yeah.
Completely losing its value. Mm-hmm. And heading toward a place, a life like Argentina.
Right.
How do you think we're doing with that?
It's funny, actually, being in South America, I was kind of cut off. I mean, you keep track of the news here and there, but long term, you look at the way things are going, and it's not good. I mean, it just doesn't look good. I mean, to me, it's a very smart choice to buy gold and silver.
Well, what do you think? Do you think our increasing national debt would have an impact on our currency dropping so badly that we could start looking like Argentina?
Maybe. So here's an analogy to kind of think of, and I'm not the first person to bring this up, right? There are other people out there who've mentioned this. We're in a free-floating system since 1971, and we've been in the same system since Nixon took us off the gold standard. So you have the dollar, the yen, the pound, now the euro. Back then it was the Deutsche Mark, you had the French franc, you had Swiss franc. All these currencies, they're no longer pegged to gold, right? Yeah. So they're all free-floating against each other. What you can think of is, let's say all of these currencies were people, and they're jumping out of an airplane going skydiving. So they're all jumping, they're all going down in value, right? Mm-hmm. They're all going down in value relative to each other. Gold is here, fixed, right? Yeah. It's fixed. But all these other currencies they're going down, 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 and down. But against each other, they look like they're rising and falling. But you look at your purchasing power going back to 1971, clearly much, it's dropped a lot. And you go back to, the 20s, 100 years ago, pretty much a 98% decline in the value of the dollar.
Yeah.
Just think what a house cost you in 40 years ago, 1984, right? Obviously, interest rates were much higher in, in that time period. You got 12, 15% interest rates on a 30-year fixed mortgage. So, that definitely impacted the price of houses. But you probably buy a house for, here in California, probably $50,000. I'm just throwing out a number here in the Bay Area. You probably could have bought a house for $50,000.
Now, speaking of buying houses, let me ask you this question because I've been thinking about you and this question. Of course, the mortgage, everything's remaining the same, right? The Fed had their meeting and they decided we're going to hold on rates. Mm-hmm. And that keeps the mortgage rates presently, over 7%. It's really, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're just in trouble.
It's hot.
Now, everyone's thinking about the Fed. Everybody's feeling on both sides. In general, everybody's feeling frustrated. Mm. I'm wondering, Powell, then his position, chair, it's an unelected position.
Right.
It's just appointed.
Right. Do
you think that is a problem? Or do you think, or we could also say, should there even be this committee?
I'm, one book for your viewers, if they haven't, it's a must read. Creature from Jekyll Island by, what's his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. But Creature from Jekyll Island goes into the story behind the creation of the Federal Reserve. Mm-hmm. And it is, I believe it's either the third or the fifth iteration of central banks in America. Wasn't the first. You had, what was his name? Andrew Jackson. Got rid of, I think it was the second central bank. He fought and fought and fought. Finally got rid of a central bank here in the United States. And then that was, I'm going to say, my history on that's not super sharp. Maybe 1840s, 1830s, something like that.
I know because the tokens were created then when people are feeling angry. It's like anti-Jackson tokens.
Yeah. So fast forward to 1913, you had the creation of the Federal Reserve. And if you know any of that story, the plans of the Federal Reserve were discussed in secret on Jekyll Island in Georgia. And then, so that bill was written, it was built out, they decided, it was, what are the names? I can't remember the names of everybody who were there, but you had senators, Wall Street bankers, they were all there putting together the bill. And then Christmas Eve, I think it was 1913. Yeah, Christmas Eve, 1913. It was like December, just right before, maybe December 22nd, 23rd. They passed the bill. Half of Congress was gone. Mm-hmm. Nobody was there to vote against it.
Wow.
The way it was passed, the way that the Federal Reserve was founded was shady. It was very shady.
Mm-hmm. And really, when you look at it, that's about half of our history did not have a Fed.
Yes.
And half does.
Yeah. Well, and you think about it, we're the only... the Fed's the only central bank in the world that doesn't call itself a central bank.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
What is also...
We call it a central bank.
Yeah. It's kind of like... They were using semantics to try to get it through so people wouldn't think, oh, it's another central bank. We don't want that. They employed all these techniques so that they could get it through without the public asking too many questions.
Yeah.
I think
if it was an elected position, it would just constantly flip-flop. I think that's the reason it's not.
Yeah, it is fairly...
Or is it the other way? Well, is it the other way that if it's appointed, then it flip-flops?
You could make the case that it has been some flip-flopping over the years. It is... So it's not an elected position, it's an appointed position from the president, and then it has to be approved by the Senate. And I don't know if the House of Representatives has any say in that. Maybe, I don't know. But I do know that Congress does have... they have some say. President appoints the Fed chair, and Congress approves the appointment.
Yeah.
So it is somewhat political. Like, we
Yeah.
can't pretend that it's not.
Absolutely.
So, like, we're in an election year. Powell wants to keep his job. So what is he going to do? He's going to make Biden look good because we have to remember he was appointed under Trump, and Trump tried to get rid of him when when he hiked rates in 2018. Trump didn't like that, made Trump look bad.
Yeah.
And out of self-interest, Trump tried to get rid of Powell. Anyway, so Powell knows that if Trump gets reelected or gets elected this fall, he's out of a job. So he's going to do everything in his power to make Biden look as good as possible, which is very hard to do. Oh, sorry, shouldn't have said that. There are states out there that do have sales tax on precious metals. The most recent state to get rid of a sales tax on precious metals was Tennessee. I wonder
what that tax was.
It was just normal sales tax. I believe it was normal sales tax.
Uh-huh.
And I think in 2022 they got rid of it. It was great for them. Fantastic. It's very, very exciting.
We get taxed.
In California, obviously,
it's a regular sales tax. It's not specific for.
So for those of your viewers who don't know, in California, you have to spend a minimum of $2,000 to beat the sales tax.
Yeah.
It used to be $1,500. Then January 1st of 2023, because of inflation, the state of California decided, we need to up the threshold to beat sales tax to $2,000 because of inflation. Because of inflation, we need to up the threshold.
Well, that's mainly going to hurt gold. I think it's silver.
No, it actually doesn't. You know who it hurts? It hurts the consumer, and it hurts the small people who just want to buy a couple of ounces. It hurts the little guy. And that's to me, that's the sad thing, is you're disincentivizing the little guy who's maybe got a couple $100 to from buying silver, because now here in Contra Costa County where we are, sales tax is 9.25%. So if you're going to spend a couple $100 on silver, you got to factor that in, and that really hurts your cost average. If anybody from the state of California in the state Senate or the state House of Representatives is listening, please, for the love of God, get rid of this stupid sales tax on precious metals. It doesn't help anybody except maybe your pocketbooks.
It's possible. It's possible.